Pendergrass, and today we're going to talk about dressing your table and your massage supplies. So this is a massage table. When we are talking about a massage table, especially when we're discussing this with clients professionally, we want to make sure that we are referring to this as a table and never a bed. We always need to watch our language, keep it professional, and make sure we aren't implying anything that we don't wish to imply with our wording. So here's my massage table. I have attached to the massage table currently my face cradle. I have over that face cradle a silicone cover as well, or vinyl cover, I'm sorry, over the massage table so that I can keep them both hygienic and well cleaned. My face cradle also has an arm sling. This is not something that you have to have. You do need some place for the client to put their face when they're prone. Don't have to have an arm sling, but it is a really nice feature. A lot of clients like that option on a place to place their arms. So we place that in the holes provided on the table. Some have the insert. It's not as comfortable. You have less options. With the face cradle, we have levers, one, sometimes two on the side of that face cradle. In order to adjust it, just pop that lever out. You'll notice that that loosens up that face cradle to be put in all different sorts of positions. In order to determine the correct position, we always want to consider natural and neutral posture. So not only from how we position ourselves in our work, but how we position our clients on the table. So natural, neutral position, be everything lined up. So I like to start with my face cradle essentially lined up with the table. Now if your client is a lot bigger, big barrel chest or a large chested person, we might want to raise that face cradle so that when they lay on this table and their body is raised higher, their head's not coming forward to meet that. So in that case, I can loosen this and see how I can bring that up. So now if their chest again is a lot larger, I might even need to put a pillow up front, especially for large-breasted women who might be uncomfortable. We could have pillows above and below. In that case, again, I can bring this face cradle higher. If it's your average body right here, and being mindful again, if we do these different angles, what that means for your client's neck. So again, if we drop that down, they'd be on the table like this, or if we lifted it up, they'd be here. So again, nice and neutral. I like to go nice and straight. And of course, you'll always ask your client if they're comfortable, and we can adjust that when the client is on the table. It's not ideal, but it can certainly be done without too much disruption to the session. Everything is about the client's comfort. So again, we want to start with a very clean space. Everything was cleaned post last client. Sanitize the table. I have a UV light that I use in the room and ozone. Use Decon 30 to clean, but everything has been cleaned and disinfected. So my next step then, since I'm coming in clean, my hands have been cleaned, the room is clean, it's now time to get out my clean linen. So again, we do that with clean hands. Never touch anything after cleaning your room. And then, because we touch all that dirty stuff, get it all out, take care of that, wash yourself, and then go proceed with your clean stuff. You usually need 15 minutes in between, especially this time of COVID and deep sanitation. Most products need to sit on your surfaces for 15 minutes. So I'm going to come to my cabinet where I keep only clean items. I'm going to get out a set of sheets. I keep those folded as a top and bottom together. I do get my stuff professionally laundered, so it does come back from the laundromat that way. What I've gotten out here is a set of twin sheets, as well as a twin pillowcase, and sold by Massage Warehouse. This is, I think it's called Angel Feathers. It's a soft fleece. I'll bring it a little closer so you can see. It's got this nice cut that allows it to hang right. It lays nice and flat over the face cradle. This centerpiece drops in the center. So it keeps the face off the vinyl. And there's no creases, because when you fold anything that's square, like you take the pillowcase around there, it has all these creases that end up creating lines in the client's face. So these are my favorite, but of course they're not mandatory. So I'm going to start with just setting those items up here on the face cradle. Again, everything was previously cleaned. I'm going to begin with taking my bottom drape. So I'm going to use a fitted sheet for the bottom drape. You don't have to, those could be two flats. I think it's easiest to work with the elastic holding the bottom onto the table, but of course that is your choice. There are lots of options, and I will tell you those options as best as I know. I certainly can't know anything, or I'm sorry, can't know everything. I know a lot of things, but certainly can't know everything. But I will share with you options when those options are available to my knowledge. But so when you pick up your drapes, there's just like the table has two short ends, it has two long sides. Your draping material should match. Find your short ends in the elastic, and again, these are twin drapes. I'm going to throw that over the table. Always keep your draping material on the table. We don't want that to ever come in contact with the floor. Always view your floor as being a contaminated area that none of your clean draping material should touch. If you drop anything, that then needs to go into the laundry. It's now no longer going to be used on a client because it has been contaminated. Bottom drape is on. You may have noticed I kind of stretched and pulled on that a little bit. Pull out any wrinkles, any lines. We want it nice and smooth, again, considering our client's comfort. Now when it comes to the top drape, again, using massage sheets, they have, again, a short end, two short ends, two long sides, but most of those, the hem is the same all the way around, so it doesn't matter which end is used, top or bottom. But if you're using twin sheets or any sort of bed sheets, I wouldn't go larger than twin, but whatever it might be for a bed, it's going to have on one side this larger seam. So you see how this is folded over, as opposed to on the other edges, the long edges or bottom edge is going to have this short one. So you want to find that top one. The top one, again, is always this longer side. So I'm showing you the back sides, it's more distinct that way. Plus, I like to put that side up. Now if you folded these right out of the dryer, as you should, keeping them without wrinkles, the only lines you should have are those from the folding process. So when mine are folded, there is this line that ends up down the center, which is really helpful. I don't know if you can see that well in the video, but you can see, hopefully see this line coming right down the center. Helps me to know it's lined up on there properly. Plus, as I put that out, what I like to do is hold my hands out to the edge of the drape, see where the center kind of drops down, line that up here at that top edge with the center of the table just to make sure it is centered. I drop that down, I can check one side and the other, make sure they're hanging evenly. You can see there's a few wrinkles, pulling those wrinkles out of the top and bottom drapes, because as you pull that top drape, it can also cause wrinkles in the bottom. So tugging on each, making sure every wrinkle is out of there and our client can be as comfortable as possible on that table. I'm going to grab a blanket from out of here, and now in this time of COVID we are using blankets a lot less. In fact, I'm not using blankets at all for clients, but if you are ever using a blanket, it's important you understand how to use the blanket properly. So with or without the blanket, the table would be made the same way. I put the sheet on the same way. With the blanket, you can see I left this sheet a little long. I want some up at the top, I need some at the bottom to make sure it's covering the client's feet at all times. But with this extra up at the top, I can fold this down over the top of the blanket, giving it a nice finished edge. From here, I just move my angel feathers out of the way. And with the pillowcase, what I find the easiest is to take one of the long edges of that pillowcase and bring that to the space right between the face cradle platform, so that wood or plastic platform and the cushion. From there, we're going to bring that up and over and tuck that through the hole. So just kind of tuck it around, open up the space, and this is why it's really important your hands are clean. You don't want to have dirty hands touching where your client will be laying. We want that hole open though so that the client can of course breathe. Especially now in the time of COVID, they also need that mask on, so we really need to make sure that space is open so that they can get air well. And so again, that is one way you can use the pillowcase. Another option, one that I used to always use when I used pillowcases, was tri-fold it like you might a sheet of paper. Lay that on the top and fold over. Just try to make sure the whole face cradle is covered, tucking it into the center a little bit. So that's another way you can do that. You have several options with the pillowcase. just as long as the platform or the cushion is covered and your client is comfortable are the main considerations. So I am not going to use the pillowcase though, I'm going to use the angel feathers. A pillowcase is still helpful though. There are times when you may need a pillow in your session. Again, a large chested or breasted woman might need, or man might need pillow at the top. Even under hips, for me, when I'm on the table prone, I need a pillow underneath my abdomen for a low back fracture. So there are many different times you might need a pillow, and so you always have pillowcases available. Also, the pillowcase is really handy for draping when we get to anterior work and draping the abdomen. So in addition to the table and the drapes, you'll want to have something to sit on when you do your supine work, a stool or a yoga ball. You'll also need some sort of bolster. So I have here the fluffy bolster. This is what I'll be using in my sessions as a fluffy. They aren't the easiest to bring under, but I find them the most comfortable for actually being on the table. As the client, I enjoy it, so that's why I got it. So again, not the easiest to bring under. If you are using sheets that are made for a massage table, I don't recommend the fluffy bolster at all then, because it is so big, and the massage table sheets, the ones that are made specifically for the table, fit the table so precisely it's a lot harder to bring it under. So for that I recommend one of the half round or 3/4 round, a little bit smaller, more firm bolsters. It's a lot easier to slide under. Or again, you can use the pillowcase around the bolster, although it gives you one more item to then wash. So that is the end of my presentation for how to set your table. But again, remember, it should be nice, smooth, clean. You can see clean lines, nice and professional, and when the client walks in, they should feel welcome, the space should be clean, and they should feel really comfortable on that table. So again, make sure there's no creases or seams. When my client does come in, one last thing, all I'm going to do with that, so I figure I'll add this now. When my client comes in and I'm instructing them, actually, they'll usually be standing on this side of the table, I'll be standing over here, and I will give them their instructions, ask them how they're feeling, what it is they'd like me to focus on or avoid will be all part of that conversation before I leave the room. I'll be instructing them to how to get on the table. Something like this. So when you're ready, once you're completely undressed, you can leave on your underwear if you prefer to, but you don't have to. It's up to you. I'll keep you modestly draped at all times. But I'm going to have you then get on the table. We'll start with you face down. You're going to get on the table underneath the top drape, so right between these two. And at that point, you can see I just fold that back. I don't need to rub or touch this because, again, your hands may not be clean. Do not rub and touch. I just pull back to let them know they can get on this bottom drape, underneath the top drape, face in the face cradle, so be face down on the table, your face in the hole, and then you'll just pull this back up over your body. I'll knock before I enter, and do you have any questions before I leave the room? Do you need the restroom or anything? No? Very good. Then I'll step out and I'll shut the door, and then you can again go ahead and get undressed and on the table underneath this top drape. And I'll knock before I enter. Thank you, and I'll be right back. And that's how I would begin my session. Again, the table is all set before the client ever gets here, so they don't have to see that whole process. But before your next client comes, make sure you do have a very professional presentation for them when they walk into your room. Thank you, and I look forward to seeing you in our next class.